It's Saturday. Thanks for joining us here for today's edition of the Hokey video blog. Hope your Saturday's off to a good start, especially after we've had a 48-hour period of weather that has been anything but good. In fact, yesterday, the nasty, massive flash flooding. We had the GE fire on top of that. Then we had a few severe storms on Thursday. Yeah, it has been messy around here, but thankfully the weather has gotten good enough and will be good enough for this weekend that we can talk about today's Hokey weather fact. And we're talking about the fact that humid days generally have less variation in temperature than less humid days. The reason for that is because water heats and cools very slowly. So on those hot, humid summer days, it may be 85, 86 in the afternoon, and it only gets down to about 70 at night. So that's about a 15-degree temperature difference. But this time of year, especially this weekend when we don't have a whole lot of humidity, for instance today, we'll get up to 60 degrees for a high temperature, but we were down into the upper 30s for a low temperature. So more than a 20-degree difference there. And that's really all because of humidity. If we had higher humidity, our low this morning would likely be either warmer, or our high this afternoon would be a touch cooler. So now you know about humidity and its effects on temperature from today's Hokey weather fact. Alright, let's get to the good stuff this morning, and that is some data that we're going over from yesterday's rain event. And yesterday turned out to be the fourth wettest day on record here in Louisville. A lot of these dates you probably recognize, but one's left off that a lot of folks were asking about. What about August of 2009, when we had that huge flash flooding event that really paralyzed U of L, the downtown area, flooded out the main library? That was actually Christy Dutton's first day on air, by the way, here at Wave 3 News. The reason that that is not on this chart is because that rainfall centered over downtown Louisville and really north of the airport. The problem is that the records are taken at the airport. The airport didn't get nearly as much rain as downtown did. I think downtown got like 7 inches of rain or something like that, but definitely not as much at the airport. So that's why. If you ever see that come up, now you'll be able to tell people that our rainfall is recorded at the airport and not downtown. And that's why there's some differences in records from what we may remember and what, of course, is recorded. Alright, outside this morning on our Kentucky One SkyTrack network of cameras, clear skies out there. The winds have kicked up. That's why we don't have frost this morning, even though the temperatures are below freezing in a couple locations. North Vernon, Paoli, both at 31, 32 from Bedford to Seymour. Rest of us in the mid to upper 30s. The clouds, of course, gone on the satellite view as well. It's really calm in the wake of this system. Of course, high pressure is moving in over the lower portions of the Midwest into the Ozarks now. The cold front well off to the east. You can see those striations in the clouds off the Atlantic coast there. But this high pressure, it's giving us a northerly wind component for now. Tomorrow, once it transitions east of the area, it gives us a southerly wind component, and that will definitely give us those warmer temperatures. Want to spend some time on the 7-day breakdown here. Show you the Easter forecast. Look at this, 70 degrees for a high temperature, but we are going to be starting out cold. In fact, we'll be in the upper 30s. We're under a frost advisory for most of our 29 counties as we go throughout the early portion of tomorrow until 9 a.m. We should be at 58 by 12 noon, 70 by 4 o'clock. Then we've got these storm chances through next week. In fact, multiple storm chances. And I think this comes to a crescendo as we go throughout your Friday. Let's break this down real quick for you here as we go throughout time. Here's the 500 millibar wind chart as we go throughout the 9th of April. That, of course, is going to be your Thursday. Notice how the winds, and this is 500 millibars, by the way, is above our heads, about, I'd say about 10,000 feet or so. But look at this. All this wind coming up through the plains here. This is creating wind shear because the winds are coming out of a different direction and a different speed at the surface. So areas that would be at risk for severe weather as we go throughout your Thursday, probably in this area here. I do want to mark this off right there, though, because it's probably going to be too warm. You're going to have too much of a cap moving into this area. Too much warm air aloft to get the storms to fire. So it's really that area there that I think storms could form and could potentially be severe as we go throughout your Thursday. Now, as we go throughout your Friday, here's what happens. that comes eastward. This is the 10th. Again, this would be on your Friday. Notice how the winds have really kicked up aloft here. We'll have to watch this because I do think there could be a few problems out of this on your Friday, but it all has to do with timing. And of course, this past system, timing and placement were crucial. That's why we didn't see any severe weather yesterday. Had storms pop up to our south, had too much rain from the morning prior. It just didn't work out here in the metro Louisville area. Thank goodness we got the tornado watch, but no warnings out of that. Nashville did have a tornado warning, but I don't think anything came of that. I haven't heard any reports of anything touching down there. So we'll have to watch this as we go into your Friday. The GFS model is a little more progressive with this, like it was with the last system. Tries to bring this on through here real quick, giving us really no chance of severe weather as we go into your late Thursday into your early Friday. Let's hope that happens. If we get this through here at night, shouldn't have very many problems, if any. But the Euro's trying to lag behind on this a little bit. Let's show you the actual precipitation output, though, as we go through time here. And this is showing you as we go throughout your Monday at 1 o'clock how we do have just a few of these isolated to scattered storms popping up. I think this would be mainly a Kentucky side of the river thing because of a disturbance swinging through the mid-south here. But as we go throughout your Tuesday, those storms could become a little more widespread, especially on the Indiana side of the river, because we'll have one of those disturbances moving through the Midwest, and that'll be the same story again on your Friday, or I should say your early Wednesday, when another one of those disturbances moves through. This is going to be kind of a parade of disturbances moving through, so I think the maximum rainfall totals throughout next week would be over the Indiana portion of our counties. There we go again on Thursday. Now we're talking about the actual severe weather threat that we're talking about out there as that moves through. And then this again is the Euro model, taking it through here early on Friday by 11:30. So we've got the proper winds in here kind of out to our west a little bit by this time. There's kind of a removal of the winds from the actual precipitation falling. So that's a good thing. You kind of want those separated so that the storms can't really tap into them as greatly as if the core of the winds were overhead. Let's hope that stays to be the case there. So this again is the Euro trying to move this through around 11:30. We'll see how that works. But look what happens by 6:30. The heavy rain really ramps down. This is kind of a dying system by the time it moves through here on Friday. It's exhibited all its energy to our west, and it pretty much starts to die out by then, and it peters out as it moves eastward as we go throughout the early portion of next weekend. Next weekend looks calm, maybe a touch cooler out there, kind of like what we've seen as we went from yesterday to today. And then we get into a calm period of weather per the Euro as we go throughout the early portion of the next week. So let's cross our fingers that we can avoid any sort of severe weather potential from this. The SPC has been pretty gung-ho. They're taking bold moves this morning and issuing severe weather risks for Wednesday out to our west, basically west of St. Louis. And Thursday, they've got a 30% risk over basically St. Louis, from Chicago down to St. Louis, on down to Fayetteville, Arkansas, into Little Rock there. Tulsa, Oklahoma included in that as well, and pretty much all of eastern Oklahoma at that point. Yeah, they've put it out pretty early. This is a day 6 outlook, 6 days in advance. They're not known for going for 30% outlooks that early on, but hey, certainly possible. They've got the 4 to 8 day outlook, but they use it pretty sparingly. So kind of a big deal when they put it out, especially close to us like this, at that distance out in time. They don't have one for Friday, and that's because there's too much uncertainty, and that system may be petering out as it goes over us on Friday, and it may come through late Thursday night, which would probably decrease the amount of severe weather potential for us. Yeah, a lot of interesting things going on over the next week. Let's hope we can avoid the severe weather potential that'll stay out to the west. I think it's got a chance of doing that. Let's hope we can pursue that. All right, for now, enjoy this weekend. Beautiful weather on tap for this afternoon, 60, tomorrow 70. Get those Easter egg hunts off without a problem tomorrow afternoon. I'll be back for Easter Sunday morning on Wave 3 News Sunrise. We'll see you then.